Hi, my name is Bree Gray. I'm the Director of Communications and Press for the Allegheny Student Government. Would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Cameron Schadl, a senior here at Allegheny, co-president for our Student Athletic Advisory Committee and president of our Men of Color Advancement Association.
And can you talk a little bit about what those activities mean to you? Like, what do you do in those positions?
For our Student Athletic Advisory Committee, it's basically a club to get together for athletes and share any information from a conference-wide level to a national level back down to our school and just give our athletes another space on campus to where they can come together, discuss things that's athletic related and whatnot, and get t-shirts and other type of gear. With our Men of Color Advancement Association, our goal is to increase the retention rate of men of color on Allegheny's campus. So we strive to provide help to men of color on campus any way possible, whether it's mental, physical, or any type of class aspect, just so we can keep men of color on campus and make sure they see their 4 years throughout and graduate college.
And can you tell me a little bit about any other activities you're involved in? I think you're a football player as well. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I'm also on the football team. I play defensive end. Outside of that, I'm affiliated with FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athlete. That's something I strongly believe in. I was introduced to that years ago back in high school, and coming to Allegheny and finding out that they had that here. It was something that I wanted to continue in doing throughout my college career. And then I've also worked a number of different jobs around campus.
And can you talk a little bit about like a reflection you've had throughout your time at Allegheny, some of the things that you've experienced, and then like any advice you would offer to like a first year who's trying out to find, if Allegheny's a space for them?
I think overall, I've had a really good experience here at Allegheny. It's definitely been very eye-opening, and it's helped me grow and develop more as a person in ways that I didn't really see for myself. The strong leadership qualities that I have definitely been brought out. I never really saw myself involved in any type of clubs or organizations, and here I am now, the president of two different clubs on campus. So that's definitely been a big part for me. And then just being involved in interacting with so many different people around campus has gave me many different safe spaces around campus to where I feel comfortable in many situations and many different environments. So it gives me people and places that I can go to in times of help. For any first years or anybody looking to come to Allegheny, I would definitely say come in with an open mindset and be willing to learn and be willing to put yourself out there, because if you don't really take that leap of faith, you might not know what you can experience or what you can get out of that. I think I definitely took that leap of faith many times, and it's worked out well every single time.
And throughout your time at Allegheny, what has been something that has made you really proud to see within yourself? Maybe it was a development that you've had or just an accomplishment that you'd like to share.
I would say my biggest accomplishment would definitely just be me willing to step up to the plate and get involved in different organizations on campus. Like I said before, when I thought of Allegheny and when I got introduced to the school, it was just for football and that was it. I never heard about it for academics or anything else. So I had in my mindset that I was getting an opportunity to continue playing a sport that I loved, and then realizing that there's more to college than just sports and class. I was willing to put myself out there and want to do more and want to experience more. And that really made my college experience a lot easier, and it made it funner. It's not really a word, but it made it funner in a way of doing more things and, exploring different options around campus. And it was just really, it was really good thing to do, just being able to take that leap of faith, and it's gotten me so far now.
And looking outwards into the future as you're preparing to like actually leave Allegheny, can you tell me a little bit about some of your aspirations that you have and just kind of reflect on how your experience at Allegheny has kind of like paved the pathway for you moving forward?
For me, I would say the group of people I surrounded myself with at Allegheny, they kind of made things easier for me than what it was for them. So I've kind of adopted that mindset myself, and I like to make things easier for the people that are coming behind me so they don't have to go through and deal with things that I dealt with. So looking forwards to graduating college, any job that I pursue in the future and the job that I'm currently working now, I have that same mindset of I want to do my job well enough to where I'm making things easier for the people that are coming behind me so they don't have to deal with the same struggles and hard times that I went through. So then they can continue on that trend, because just that small impact on one or two people makes a big difference in the long run, to where they recognize, like, I took the extra step, so maybe they can take the extra step and continue this trend going on. So my biggest thing, my mindset that I have is making things easier for those that come behind me.
And can you expand a little bit on how you've done that throughout even your clubs that you're involved in?
I would definitely say when I first got introduced to Mocha, the Men of Color Advancement Association, it was sort of a small club. It kind of just got started maybe a year or two ago before I got to campus. And it was kind of just football players associated with it and just some of their friends. So everybody had this huge conception that it was just like a football club and that nobody else could really be involved with it. And it wasn't really a space for them, but that really wasn't the case. So for me, being on the board for a year and then taking role as president, something that I wanted to do was diversify our board to where it wasn't just football players, there was other athletes or even students that were non-athletes. So with our board now, there's football players, basketball players, and even non-athletes on our board. So I just wanted to open up things to show them that this club isn't just a specific thing. It's for all the men of color on campus. We're wanting to help everybody on campus. We have, for me, when I was there on campus personally, it was an open door policy. If you came to my room, what I'm saying, you can come right in, we can talk, we can do homework, we can play video games, whatever. It was just open door, any type of help you needed. I was there for you. And it's the same thing now. I might be remote, but everybody has my phone number. You might have my social media. You can contact me, and it's any help that I can give. I want to do that because I want to see the men of color on our campus go there 4 years and graduate college and get that degree and be on the right side of the statistic, not the one that says, oh, they dropped out of college or they didn't make it. I want to be the one. I want to impact them to where they're the ones that made it, and they're the ones that's making impact on our future lives later down the road in our careers.
And I'm just going to touch a little bit more on Mocha. Can you just tell me some of the things that the organization does on campus and just a little bit of, how you've reached that goal of ensuring that men of color continue to advance beyond just Allegheny College, beyond just your 4 years?
We've held previous alum workshops. So we've invited past members of Mocha or members that were associated with Mocha to have meetings with us to where they can share their personal experiences of their 4 years with Allegheny College and Mocha to younger freshmen and sophomores of how they should navigate Allegheny to where they can go their 4 years and graduate as well. We've held resume workshops to help build in a resume so people know what they should present to jobs when they're going to interviews, or for post-college, what their resume should look like and how it should be formatted. We've also attended I don't remember the exact name of it, but it was like a Men of Color conference. This was last year up in Buffalo, New York. So different type of workshops and just career building things to help build up the different men as men themselves, but then as a person overall, to where they're set up right for their future, to where instead of not having the knowledge for these things and they're kind of just thrown out there and they got to handle it on their own. We're giving them the tools and the knowledge that they need in preparation so that when these situations come about, they know how to handle them and they know how they should navigate these situations.
And can you just explain to me just a little bit about, kind of some of your board members and some of their involvement on campus and just kind of reflecting of the inclusivity of Mocha?
So the vice president for Mocha, Jacob Lassane, he is a soccer player on campus, and he really got involved with Mocha from me personally, kind of a trickle down effect of older guys throwing Mocha onto me and telling me what it's about and saying that I should be involved and showing me that it's a good thing. So I've kind of done the same thing with him to get him involved. Two close friends of mine, Nijan and Lamar, they both are basketball players, seniors as well. I expressed to them how Mocha could benefit them through other, just hanging out with them, or as well as being involved with brother to brother, bringing up Mocha in that conversation, telling them how great of a thing that Mocha is and how it's something that should be around for a very long time on Allegheny's campus. And they dove right in head first, willing to be a part of this. And two of our younger guys that we have are Willie Knight and Ibrima, and neither one of them are athletes on campus. They're just regular students, but they're men of color as well. And they have very bright minds and bright futures. And they're somebody that I want to be able to share all my knowledge and wisdom with, so then they can take over the board in the future and they can continue to do the same thing of seeing men of color come to Allegheny College and graduate and get their degrees.
And like in terms of the size of Mocha, can you talk a little bit about how many members you have? Are you looking to expand? Just kind of stuff of that nature as well.
Member wise, we have we have 6 board members, but anybody that comes to Mocha, one of our meetings or anything like that, we technically consider you a member of Mocha. So the number for that isn't really specific, because if you come to our events, if you come to our meetings, you're part of Mocha. We're sharing knowledge with you. You're sharing knowledge with us. We're all benefiting off of each other. So you're all a part of Mocha. We're always looking to expand. We're always looking to take in more people. Any men of color on campus are welcome to attend our meetings or events, even if you aren't a man of color, if you're a woman of color, if you're not of color at all, if you're just a white male or white female, you're able to attend our events. We're open to everybody. Everybody has some type of knowledge that they can bring to the table and share with us, and we can do the same for you. So it's kind of an open thing. Anybody that comes and shows up to our events or our meetings, you're a part of Mocha.
And I'm going to transition a little bit away from Mocha, just kind of talking a little bit about you. Can you tell me just a goal that you have in mind for like the next 5 years or even 10 years?
For me personally, I never had the idea of thought of wanting to have like really big fame or being very rich or anything like that. I just is as I go throughout life, I just always want to be able to have some sort of impact on somebody somewhere. So it doesn't matter if it's one person, or 100 people, as long as throughout my lifetime and what I'm doing at the time, I'm able to have some type of positive impact on somebody to where their life becomes better or easier. I'm happy. I like to be able to spread joy to everybody. You'll never find me mad or upset or anything like that. I'm always happy, positive about all the situations. So I just want to spread, joy and happiness and positivity to everybody that I interact with and have positive impacts on their lives.
And what does that look like for you? Can you just explain like ways in which you intend to do that moving forward, or even just ways that you can find ways in which you can find just kind of joy in helping others?
I think it goes as simple as seeing somebody and, having a smile on your face, speaking to them, asking them how their day is, because it's actually surprising to go about and think about if when's the last time somebody actually got asked how they were doing, how their day was, and that was like an actual genuine conversation. So for me, I think I'm a very upfront and honest and genuine person. So when I speak and the things that I'm saying, it's always coming from the heart. So just being able to actually, show somebody that there is somebody out there that cares for them and that they have a purpose in life. I think I'm kind of that person to where I'm having a positive impact on, everybody that I'm surrounded with or everybody that I interact with.
And would you say that that's a passion of yours, just kind of ensuring that, you're having that infectious happiness, or, so they're making an impact on somebody else's life in a positive way?
Yeah, I would definitely say that is something that's very, positive and impactful for me. Just the way I go about life, I know that everybody else can't look at life that same way. So if I can kind of share some of my, natural confidence and happiness with other people, at the end of the day, I'm happy.
And now I'm gonna like ask a little bit more. So one of the big perks of doing one of these is where we want to learn more about you as a person as well. So beyond just your involvement on campus, just kind of things that you're passionate about, things that you want to see through, problems you've seen, and ways you want to attack them, and make them better. So is there anything that you'd like to add? Just something that really stands out to you, something you've experienced in your life, and ways in which you've responded?
Um, I think kind of the easy answer for me with that is just being involved with sports my entire life, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, playing golf. Just the thought of, facing adversity in different situations of being down or being at a really high point and then getting knocked off of that point and always picking myself back up and continue to move forward and not letting this one little obstacle stop me from what I want to accomplish. I think getting to Allegheny College and football being something that I was very passionate about and that I loved, I always had the mindset and the dream of, wanting to play football in the NFL. I think that's any football player's dream is wanting to make it to the league and being able to make it to college and then realize, okay, this isn't a D1 school, a D1 tool, D2 school, it's a D3 school. So the competition is still as good, but the chances become even slimmer for someone to make it to the next level. So for me personally, I came to the realization of that I won't have football forever. So being able to come to acceptance with that and know that there's a bigger purpose in life. And that's kind of where I've adopted of this happiness and this joy that I'm spreading with everyone and making sure everybody's doing well. I've adopted that from that of taking the energy I will have from football and taking that energy and putting it somewhere else.
And you still are currently playing football, correct?
Yeah, this is technically my senior year in school, and our season got canceled. If I wanted to come back for a fifth year, I would be able to play football again. I'm undecided on that decision right now, so it's kind of up in the air still.
Okay, okay. And then what is just something that, and you mentioned that you've played a lot of sports or you've had a lot of experience. It seems that athletics tends to be something that's really passionate for you, something that you enjoy. Can you reflect a little bit on how your experiences playing different types of sports has kind of led you into different pathways, different networks?
I think foremost, with being involved in different sports, you get involved with different sorts of people and, different backgrounds of where they're from and the way they go about things. Football players to basketball players carry themselves completely different. But I've also played golf my entire life, and going from a field or a court to then playing on a golf course, it's completely different with, silence, minimum communication, no trash talking is really going on. It's kind of respectful of what they call a gentleman's game. So just being put in different environments and different situations has really opened myself up to see all sides of, the field and understanding where everyone is coming from and not just my own point of view. And I don't just have tunnel vision on one thing. I'm able to sit back and listen or understand where somebody else is coming from. And just having those different perspectives and understanding has shaped me into the person that I am now, and it's made me a better man to where I would have been if I would have just solely been to one sport. It was constant of that over and over again, one sort of environment, doing the same thing all the time.
And I'm going to reflect back on that. So for any of our first years who are watching, or for students who, haven't really found themselves at Allegheny or haven't really found themselves even outside of Allegheny, just as a person, what advice would you offer from your experience, from, getting to know different people, getting to interact with different types of people through all of your different activities? What advice would you offer to those students where they haven't found their niche yet and they're trying to find the place that, kind of best suits them?
I would say don't sort of rush it. Take your time with it. You don't have to, you don't have to expect results overnight or within a day or within a week. It'll happen over time. But mostly, I would say be willing to put yourself out there and be vulnerable. Be willing to explore a club or an organization that you wouldn't have done before. Be willing to play a sport or try something new that you wouldn't have done before, and put yourself in uncomfortable situations and environments to where you have to actually learn and sit back and listen to others and understand their passion for what's going on and the situation around you. So you're not just trained to the same constant thing over and over again. If you're willing to, step outside the box and explore new things and do new options, it'll definitely make you a better person in the end.
And you mentioned vulnerability. Can you talk about a time where you had to be vulnerable or where you learned that there's strength in being vulnerable?
For me, I would say when I first got introduced to SAC, the Student Athletic Advisory Committee. So when elections were held, it's an option for where you can nominate people or you can volunteer for the position and kind of explain why you'll be best fit for this position. One of the previous co-presidents, Marcus Davenport, close friend of mine, he played football as well. He got me into attending all the meetings and events, so I would do that on a regular. And when elections came, I showed up for the meeting, and the position was Gold Rush chair, and nobody had ran for it. And he nominated for me to be the Gold Rush chair, and it was kind of like a shocker to me, like, whoa, like what's going on? I wasn't ready for this. Like, you didn't give me a heads up or anything, because we talk and interact on a regular basis. So I think having that moment happen and then me having to stand up in front of a room of other student athletes and kind of explain who I was and give a situation of why I would be best fit for the position. I think I was very vulnerable at that point, and it was kind of something that I wasn't used to doing, caught me off guard completely. And being put in that situation, I kind of thank him from it, because now I'm one of the co-presidents of the club, and it's only benefited me from being put in that situation from there through on out to where I am now.
And I'm going to ask more of like a thought-provoking question, something that is a little bit different than what I've done previously. But do you have more like a philosophy in life, something that just kind of guides you, that helps you get through all of your different activities, that has helped you like navigate your pathway as a young man?
Um, I think I'm personally just a very naturally motivated, high driven, confident person. So I can get minimum hours of sleep, wake up, but I'm still ready to go and get after it. I look at life as I have to live every day to the fullest. Nobody's guaranteed to wake up tomorrow. We're not promised tomorrow. So I want to take advantage of everything I can today, do the most that I can today because you never know what's going to happen. Um, I think everything does happen for a reason. You know, we all are on our own separate paths, but I think sometimes those paths can interact and, we can benefit from each other. We can learn things, but I'm just naturally always very driven, very motivated of wanting to be better and wanting to be the best version of myself, wanting to outwork others that are around me or help those that are around me. And I think that's sort of a really big thing of having that confidence and motivation of waking up every day and I just want to live the day to the fullest and to the best of my abilities.
And so I come up with questions on the spot just based upon things that you say. So I actually have a question, and this is something just of curiosity from me. Was there ever a time where maybe you didn't have the motivation that, you typically have, where you didn't have that like motivation to continue, but yet nonetheless you persisted?
I would say I've definitely had many of those times, but then it's kind of a self check, look in the mirror, wake up call kind of deal of like either you can sit here and, be lazy and waste a day away, or you can get up and be productive. I would say definitely dealing with, COVID and quarantine now for a year. One of my close friends, Charles Ross, who was the previous Mocha president, me and him talk on a regular, and he sent me a video a couple months ago, and it was an interview with a guy named Charlie Rocket, and he has this saying of a winning streak, and it's basically, you wake up every day and you say you drink coffee every day, and that like gets your day going. That's your technical winning streak that starts your day every day. So that was something that I really kind of fell for because I believed in that of, getting up, being motivated, it starts with getting out of bed and then your day is started. So that was something that after he sent me that video, I sort of fell for it because when he sent me this, I think it was right around New Year's, coming into the new year, COVID and quarantine has been dragging on for a long time. You've been in the house for a long time. Me personally being home and in a new state, don't really have friends here. All my friends are far away. We just communicate over cell phones and computers. So having that sent to me by him and listening to this video, I've sort of adopted that myself of a winning streak every day, whether it's, getting up, eating breakfast, getting up, doing a workout, or I got to get up and I got to have class. I'm starting my winning streak every day to be the best that I can every single day. And then repeating that over and over again. So just having that positive outlook on life.
And I'm going to touch on the remote aspect. So I also was a remote student. When everything happened, I just didn't return. I'm back now. But I know that that poses unique challenges with, especially as a senior. I can't imagine having to, go into being remote learning, when all your friends are on campus or all of your friends are in different states and are like, and you're by yourself technically in your home. What challenges has, remote learning kind of, imposed upon you? and just kind of how have you dealt with it? How are you, working to still be actively involved on campus and actively involved in all of your activities, even if it has to be in a remote setting?
I would say the sort of first or biggest challenge that I dealt with was just getting back into the routine. If I was on campus and I had football, I would wake up, do a workout, eat breakfast, and then I'm showering, getting ready for class, and my day started. Now that I'm home, it's sort of wake up, wash my face, brush my teeth, and then I'm getting on Zoom and I'm just rolling out of bed, getting on the computer every day for class. So finding that strict routine of what I was going to do every day to get my day started, to just get me up and going, was sort of the hardest thing to get into. And then once I got into that routine and a good rhythm, it sort of mellowed out. I would also say with note taking, if you're in person in class, you would typically write down things that the teacher wrote down. But being on Zoom, you're looking at a presentation or a screen that was already, put together in a PowerPoint form or whatever. So it's not really a sense of note taking because you have the video from class or the PowerPoint shared with you. So it's kind of hard to find a way of what notes you should take or what not. So that was also something that was very difficult for me. My main closest friends, they all graduated and they're in different states now, but we communicate on a regular basis. So that's something that's not as difficult, but it still is at the same time of having that, physical connection, being in the same room environment with someone. And then as far as my friends that are on campus, when I decided not to come back to campus, I would get a lot of messages like, oh, I heard you're not coming back. And I'm gonna miss not having you there. And I'm thinking the same thing of like, I'm gonna miss not being there, but just looking at situation and everything that's going on, being remote was best for me. But I try to do my best of still communicating with them, keeping in touch with them. So that connection is still sort of there, even though the physical aspect isn't there of being able to, be in the same room as your closest friends, playing video games, watching TV or whatever it be. So just maintaining, contact with everyone and letting them know like, hey, I'm still here. I still care about you. You're still, a good friend of mine. It's been a really big thing to take the ease off not being there.
And you mentioned before previously that you had an open door policy when you're on campus, but you also mentioned that it extended into your remote learning. Can you talk a little bit about how you're still able to maintain the open door policy, especially for individuals within Mocha? Because I know that was one of the bigger aspects of that open door policy.
Yeah, so I think where we are at in times, social media is a huge aspect of everyone's life. And if it's not looking at the way school has changed with a lot of it being, even if you're on campus, you might still have a virtual class. So you're on your computer a lot. So for me, having that open door policy, quote unquote, is if you have my number, you follow me, on social media accounts, or even if you follow, the Mocha account on Instagram or Twitter and you send us a message, that's still of what I consider an open door policy. Because if you message me in any sort of way, I'm going to reply. If you say you need help with something or you want some sort of advice or anything, or you just want to chat, I'm going to reply. That's still my open door policy. You can reach out at any time. I might not be there to sit down with you face to face, but the technology that we have nowadays, we're still able to communicate on a regular basis and do any sort of, business or anything that we need to do. So in any way, shape or form, if you need to reach out, you have my number, any type of social media, my email or anything, you contact me, I'm gonna get back to you, as soon as possible.
And I'm gonna transition the conversation a little bit. Sorry, I do this a lot because I had another question just come up, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, it's your senior year, and you're spending it remote. So just kind of something that you want the campus community to remember you by. Like, what's one thing about you from the time that you were on campus to even the time that you've been remote, something that you wanted to leave behind for, people to remember you by, but also just part of your legacy on this campus?
Um, I know being involved, in like sports is a big thing. Being involved in clubs, being presidents of clubs is a big thing. But for me personally, that's like it's like just another thing that's written down on paper per se. So for me, as a remembrance, just of like when you think of who I am or you think of my name, you think of, how much of a happy going, open person that I was. Always, willing to give back and help others out. I don't really care for he did this, this, and this, but what was happening, behind closed doors, what was happening behind scenes? Was I actually doing those things or was this just what was seen by the public? So I really care of how people look towards me of what my own character was and how their interactions and involvement with me was, as long as all of those things are, positive. That's something that can be spread to other people. Like he was, a very good person, a good leader. He did these things. That goes much further for me than just saying he was president of this, he was involved with this, he was a football player, he did such and such.
And that's a very unique perspective where a lot of people place a lot of emphasis on the stuff they're going to write in their resume. And actually, I'm really glad you mentioned that because I had that too. So I do like a bunch of stuff on campus. It's a bunch of random stuff. And anytime somebody asks me that question, I'm like, okay, well, here's the positions I do, but that's not going to tell you anything about me. You can read
Yeah,
my resume and come up with any type of stereotypical version of me that you would like, but it's not who I am. It's not a reflection of my character. It's not a reflection of, what I personally care about. So I think it's really interesting that you bring that aspect to the table, and it's something that you would want people to think about when they hear your name or when they think of you as a person moving forward, where it's not just here's his resume and let me read it to you. Let me read what he did, but let me not tell you how he impacted my life or, how he made the lives of other people better. So I think it's an amazing reflection. Um, I do have another follow up question. So I have a bunch of follow up questions. I think about them. Um, when you're talking about some of the aspects, it's almost as though you want to make sure that you continue to inspire that within the people moving forward, within the younger students, especially. I know you mentioned Willie and Abrima, it's inspiring within them to continue on the legacy of, caring about other people beyond just, please join our club. Just care about other people, care about their well-being, caring about one another and uplifting the community. And I want to talk a little bit about kind of what led you to that decision where, uplifting a community is better than focusing on your own success, on your own goals.
I would definitely say I kind of already had that mindset, coming out of high school into college. Just in high school, I wasn't really involved a lot. It was just mostly, sports. When one season ended, I did another sport. When that ended, I did another sport. So within sports for high school, it was sort of, I was always seen as the leader on whatever team it was of, working the hardest, pushing others. So that kind of started then and there of, wanting the people behind me to be just as good as me, if not better. So getting to college, having that same mindset with sports, but then me willing to get involved with different clubs and things like that around campus. And then the friend group I surrounded myself with, they kind of put that same mindset that they had onto me. And it's kind of just, a trickle down effect of even if I was the only person that they impacted, I'm trying to continue to do the same thing and impact maybe one person or two people so then they can impact 5 or 10 people to carry on that same mindset and continue to make sure that however it was for us, it's better for the next generation that's coming through.
And I'm going to start asking more of like reflecting questions too. So, like reflecting on your 4 years, because this is an important year of your life. This will be the year you leave Allegheny College and you graduate with your bachelor's. And I think that deserves recognition beyond just discussing that you're a senior. But if there was something that, if you could look back on your 4 years at Allegheny, in the period that you've had to grow with this community, to live and learn with different people, what is one thing you would either change, or if you wouldn't change anything, why?
I wouldn't change anything. Um, that kind of just plays into how I am as a person of living in the moment, making the best of every single day. So I don't want to live my life with looking back and I regret not doing something, or I regret doing something, or I regret a decision. I'm confident in everything, that I'm doing, and I want to make the most and the best of everything that I'm doing. So I definitely wouldn't say that I would change anything at all. I would say I'm very grateful for, the different situations that I've been put in, good or bad, different experiences, good or bad, because they've helped me develop and grow and shape me into the man that I am today. So I wouldn't change anything at all to change my college experience at all. I'm very happy and very grateful for how it was, and I wouldn't trade it for anything else. Like I said earlier, everything happens for a reason.
And I want to talk a little bit about some of the different aspects and the whole everything happens for a reason mentality. Um, so a lot of times everything happens for a reason kind of has a sad connotation to it. It's something that happened that maybe you wanted to work out but didn't work out, and you were better off because of it, or like there was something because of that it didn't work out, that a new opportunity was opened. Can you kind of explain a little bit from your experience, if there was an opportunity that you would wanted and you wanted really bad, but unfortunately it didn't work out, but a new door had opened for you? Can you talk about one of those experiences? Have you had one of those experiences?
Um, I'm sure I've had one off the top of my head. I can't think of one, but I think it's a matter of the first kind of thing that I can think of, you're in college and then you might have some sort of impulsive decision or like a split decision, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna go do this right now, but it might not be the best thing, and then it doesn't work out. But in the moment, it was something like you really hope that worked out. You wanted this to happen, but it doesn't. And in reality, it was a good thing that it didn't work out for you. Um, I think that's sort of a situation I've kind of been in before. Like I said, I can't think of anything specific off the top of my head, but I think there's always those situations, whether it's good or bad, or if, you know, you hope that you did really good on a test per se and it didn't. So like first exam of the semester comes up. You take the test and you're like, oh, that wasn't that bad. You have really high hopes about it. You think you did really good, and then you didn't. So it's like, okay, I can accept this. I got the bad one out of the way. So now I'm moving forwards. All my other exams and tests that I take, I'm going to do really good on it. So I think that can kind of sort of be, you know, everything happens for a reason. I got the bad one out of the way early. So now I know how I can adjust my study strategies and things like that. So moving forwards, I'll do good on the rest of my tests.
And you mentioned the forward thinking mentality, where it's not, I hit a setback, so therefore I'm not gonna like go anything. Maybe maybe I'm not good enough. And I know a lot of students, especially younger first year students, who have never had that experience where they're like, I got a bad grade on a test. I'm a STEM major. I've had those experiences, and it's like, you have that setback, and you have to think for a moment: is this something that I should be continuing? Is it something I should be pursuing? And I know a lot of first year students have that mentality, where they're hit with the hard, they're hit with like something that's very hard for them, something they didn't expect. Maybe it's not the same experience they had in their first year, like in high school or their senior year in high school, but it's something that has happened to them. What advice would you offer to the first years who've experienced a setback, even if it's as minute as having a bad score on a test? How have you overcome some of those situations where it didn't end the way you wanted it to, but you still were forward thinking, you still moved forward nonetheless?
I would definitely say something that I have, and it would be great if, other people were able to adopt it, would be having an open mindset about things. I know it's a lot easier said than done. Um, of just having those first year students be able to, you know, accept the situation and know that, okay, you just got to college. This is all new to you. Because I know a lot of people coming from high school, they say they had all A's, never got a B. If they got a B, they were kind of down on themselves then. It was always everything's good, positive reinforcement. But coming to college is a whole nother game. So if you do have, that bad moment or that down situation, just being able to, accept it, reflect on it however you need to, and then move forward and make the changes that you need to change and adapt to what you did before and, what worked, what didn't work, and accept that to be able to move forward and improve yourself.
And I know I center a lot of the questions around advice, but it also comes with the fact that as a senior, you're going to have 4 years experience at this school that other people aren't. And if a first year is watching, this might be their first time, especially under COVID-19, where they haven't experienced what college is besides like the Zoom U version. And I think that gives a lot of value, especially for students who are trying to navigate their pathway at this institution. And I am going to open the floor up one more time for advice because I think there's, one of the best things people can give is advice from their lived experiences. And even if it's something as small as, oh, I shouldn't call it as small as something as, as little or as, as simple as just making sure that you put a smile on your face every day, making sure that, you present yourself as one of the happiest people in the room because you never know how that's going to impact somebody else. Stuff of that nature can really have a lasting impact, especially on students who have no idea what they're doing here yet or haven't found that pathway or that group of friends or that niche that we talked about. What advice would you offer to students, even fellow seniors, as they go from your lived experiences to move on into the real world or even as they continue through their time at this institution?
I would say, um, college is what you make from it. If you put a lot into it, if you're willing to try new things and, learn from other people, you get a lot out of it. If you're one of those people that's, you're just going to go to class and sit in your room and not do things, your experience might not be as good as other people. If that's what you like, though, you'll have a really good experience. But college is what you make from it. If you're willing to do new things, explore what college actually has to give for you and the things that you can benefit from it, I think personally you'll have a great time. If you enjoy sitting in your room, I'm not saying go out and do things. If that's what you enjoy, do that. But if you're kind of confused and you're not sure what you're going to do, go out there, take that leap of faith. You never know what'll happen. I don't think in any way it'll necessarily be, a bad situation or a bad environment. Maybe you might not like the situation, and that's okay. That's not really a group of people for you. That might not be a club for you or whatever. Try again, go to other ones, and then you'll eventually find, where you fit in. You'll find your group of people where you feel comfortable and you feel safe on campus to where you can connect with those people and you can have the time of your life.
I want to thank you for doing this with me. I know it was like a spur of the moment, just kind of get together. And I really appreciate it from somebody that you don't know very well to come out here and to share so much of yourself and to share your advice and to do so freely and to not, care about a lot of the aspects, just ensure that, you're giving wholehearted advice to our community. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you.